Hi guys, and welcome back. I got some today for you guys. It's kind of cool. Let's take a look at it. These here are from, obviously, Mr. King. Robert King makes these really cool shift couplers for buses, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the problem I was having before this. Obviously, I have not put it in yet, and I did fix the other issue that I was having. I wanted to do that before I actually tried this thing out, because I wanted to see if there was any difference, which I don't know if there's going to be really any difference. It's a little more positive shifting, and I like the design of it. We'll go over that in just a second. But what I was having a problem with is, as I was going to Big Bear, and I could barely get this thing in and out of gear. I mean, it was like really hard. It was like you just couldn't get it, and then go to fourth, and it was real tight. And obviously it's not like that now. One of the cool things about this bus, this is a 66. Look where second is. And then third's there, fourth. Okay, it's really close to the seat. And I was talking to Robert about this too. We're probably going to take this apart and see what's in here. And then maybe he'll make the parts for that. He's really trying to do some cool stuff for the VW world. And I was talking to him about this, but if he doesn't even remember, that's okay, because he's got a lot going on. But anyway, it works great now, but if it's just a little bit loose, it could maybe tighten it up a little bit, and maybe that thing will help do that. And honestly, I probably won't notice just right away when I'm done. But these shift couplers are kind of cool, because they have a lock nut, okay, and then you have your pin. Versus the stock one, it just has a pin, and you have to put a piece of baling wire around it, which is kind of a joke, really. And so these are made for buses. I don't know if they fit, or if they are made for buses. I think he does make a different one for the Bug. But what's cool is it has a pin. Let's look at it. With an Allen wrench on it, so you can hold it in place and then lock it with a nut. So one of the issues you guys forget is they forget to put the baling wire on here, and actually on this bus I haven't had the baling wire on here, so shame on me. Usually I have a baling wire on there, and I'll show you, and I'll show you what I did to mine as well in just a second. But if you see here, this is the original one. It had a rubber piece in two halves. And what would happen all the time is the rubber piece would erode away or whatever, and it would end up breaking, okay? And then or the other thing that would happen is one of these little screws in here, let me see if I can get you guys up a little closer. One of these little square-headed screws would fall out because there's a little hole in there to put baling wire. You crisscross it, and the baling wire, you'd lose your baling wire somehow, you forget to put it on there, and the screw would fall out, and going down the road, you just all of a sudden would be able to shift. So those things are not good, right? So this thing's kind of cool because, you know, all of us forget the damn baling wire. I mean, I didn't forget it. I don't know. It's probably in a hurry. Actually, I probably did forget it. I was probably putting this together, threw the motor trans in it real quick, and then was like, oh yeah, I'll put it up in the lift or something like that, and I'll do the baling wire at that point. And of course I didn't. So what I did on this thing to fix the problem that I had is everywhere I looked right here, there was some wear going on, probably because the mount's just a little bit sagged, which is kind of normal. Okay, I'm not going to change the mount. It's too much work. It doesn't have any issues. But so I just greased here, and then I went down, of course, check every place in the shift. And, you know, this is a little loose, which is kind of normal. All right. And then that could be tightened up, I think. If I just, I don't know, take the slop out of that, could do it, but it's not really that big a deal. It's not causing much of an issue. But the other thing I did was take my finger, I could pull the shifter off. And on the 66, there's this little pin style thing. On the earlier ones, you have that It's like a loop that goes down around here. I think it, yeah, or does it go this way? It might be on the front. I don't remember. On a bus, it's maybe the opposite of bug. The bug is, well, the bug gets in the front, maybe the bus in the back. I can't remember. But anyway, the little loop thing, you usually have a shift coupler on here. This one has a pin that goes in something on the 66 and 67. And I also took grease up in there and packed it in the cup. Okay, so it can all be done from underneath without having to pull the shifter off. And that's how I did it. So I just packed grease and everything. Boy, it worked amazing. They said long ago, spit on it before you stick it in. And I didn't get the memo. So anyway, let's put this on. And see, it's not hard to do. We got two 8mm or a little 8mm wrench things to take off of the old one. And then we have these nice little 10mm and Allens. And with these, I think you can kind of feel it better while it's going on. It's made of nice aluminum, and it seems like it would be pretty sturdy, and it would eliminate the possibility of this thing breaking. You know, I mean, like the other ones, they come apart. I mean, I suppose you could break this. I bet it'd be pretty tough to do. But, you know, it would eliminate that road failure. So that's pretty cool. I like this product because it has the lock things and these, and that just makes it easier. Now, people might say the downside is you'll get some shifter vibration, and that's really what that rubber piece was in between them, or noise. I'd be honest, I don't think you're going to notice any noise difference. Not with, maybe in a Beetle you would, but not in a bus. They're too noisy already. So I'm not going to be concerned with that. Let's put it on and check it out. So I'm super glad I'm doing this right now because, you know, those shift couplers go out just kind of randomly on the road. And you do not want to do this one on the road, guys. This one, on the 66, 67, I don't think it's on the earlier ones because I think you can slide the rod all the way forward on the earlier buses. Well, on 66, 67, they have this bracket that goes across between the two. I'm trying to get the light out of your eyes, guys. There's a bracket right here that goes across, and it has a pin that centers it. And the shifting is a lot better on these than the earlier ones, by the way, because of that. And that's why I really like the 66, 67s after driving them a bit. And you have to split the shaft in the middle to do this. And, you know, a lot of times that sucker's just, yeah, even these, you know, sometimes they're just rusted on there. And I had to beat this thing off of here. And on a road, on the side of the road, you know, trying to get that collar off would be really fun. So, and that's to get the thing out. So, I mean, I don't know. If I remember right, on a Beetle, you can take this guy out right here by putting it in first gear. Okay, put the rod all the way back in first gear, and then take the screws out, and then put it into put it in first gear, and then put it in reverse after you take them out, and usually it just comes out of there, if I remember right. But on a bus, a way to get that out there without splitting the shaft. So the thing about the new one, okay, is it's solid. So the chance of it, you know, the only thing that can happen to it is it could break in half. So I don't know, I think it's a good upgrade if you're doing, you know, on a 66, 67 bus. I think it's kind of a must. I would do it. I would just put this thing on wherever it is. That's what I get for moving it around, right? So I'll put this thing on here, and yeah, I'm super stoked about having it and putting it on, because it will eliminate a potential roadside disaster, really, by having this thing replaced now, because it's solid. If it's solid, there's no two halves to it that can break. You know, the rubber gets old and it just starts to break up, and I'm sure the Chinese or whatever they are now that we have are fantastic. I'm sure they're just absolute good quality, and the old German ones are so old that, you know, that's scary. So this kind of eliminates some of that. So anyway, it's a pretty tight fit. I'm gonna have to sand it a little bit. It's nice and tight on there. I guess that's good too. So anyway, we'll get that on there and then we'll check it out. I actually just pointed a bolt for mine so I can get it nice and tight. And it's just this little bit of looseness there, and I don't have a bushing there. No, I'm not gonna put one. It doesn't, those things just don't last. So anyway, I don't put them in there. But I coat everything with this. This is Volkswagen guy's best friend. And guys think Versachem is some second company. No, this is Versachem is the guys who make that. And then we got this in here, their nice little King showing up there. I don't know if you can see it. Kind of a glare in the video, but it's pretty clear that it's there. And this is really nice because they have the shoulder on here, so you can get it nice and tight. You know, you can get these things nice and tight. The lock nut, and don't need that funky baling wire. And you know, I really think this is like a necessary thing to do if you have a bus, especially a 66 or 7 with that pin, the world famous pin right there. I'm gonna get my grease up on it. Yeah, keep that on there. Keep lots of grease on all that stuff. Anyway, grease it up. It'll start shifting kind of funky if you don't. Definitely wouldn't want to do this on the side of the road. Just hammering underneath there, trying to get that thing loose. I mean, it was pretty, mine came off pretty easy, but some of those, I mean, I've gotten some of them where they've just been rusted on for years. And, you know, maybe you just restored it, but it's okay then. But, you know, you're not going to want to change that sucker on the side of the road either way, even if it's fresh. And if you do it, definitely anti-seize it up. So anyway. Alright, so it shifts great. Check it out. Really nice and even, smooth. But I do notice a little bit more noise back there. I can for sure hear the gear whine coming through the shifter, but it's really tight now. Definitely hear it, but I mean, look at that. I mean, this thing's like nice and tight, and no need to worry about the shift coupler going out, especially in the 66, 67. When they go out, it's, you know, it's a major job. Could be, you know, if that tube doesn't come apart. So anyway, definitely can. You can hear it in the back. You can't feel anything in the shifter. The shifter doesn't have any vibration feel to it, but you can definitely hear the gear whine finding its way to the body a little bit more. But like I said, you know, it's up to you. Peace of mind is important to me. On a long drive, I really don't want to be under there for half a day. I would be trying to do the shift coupler on this, on the side of the road, because like I said, you have to take off that little coupler, separate the two halves of the shaft, and they don't always come apart very easily. And then you're gonna have to be in the front of the car and in the back. On a bus, it's not like in a Bug where you just take the shifter off, slide the thing forward if you have to. No, they're not hard to change in the Bug, but in the bus they're much more difficult. So anyway, I hope that helps you if you're looking at those, figuring out what you're looking at. And I really think it's something that, you know, if you can tolerate the extra noise, and it's really not that much, but it is noticeable. It'd be definitely worth it to have one of those in there, because then you just eliminate any shift coupler issues, and it is much more positive shifting it now. It just, you can really feel the gears. So anyway, all right, I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.